How's everybody doing tonight? Getting my little screen set up, struggle streaming. Everybody a little time to fall in. Where my chat box at? I gotta get it together. Hope everybody having a great holiday. Give me a one in the chat if you can hear me. Let's see, I'll probably play this while everybody coming in. So we're talking about the Amazon One Enterprise. It's basically a palm reader that's attached to your credit card. I don't know how Professor Black Ops. I don't know if I want to use my palm print link to my credit card. So we're gonna break it down and talk a little bit about that. Once again, give me a one in the chat if you can hear me. Salute to casual economists. Glad you can join me. Trying to get back to my normal late night with PBO. Getting this started. You know how we do it. If you got any tech questions or cybersecurity questions, just drop them in the chat. No matter what they are, we can pivot to them and come back. And if I don't know, I could probably send you to somebody. Shout out to Aiken. Glad you can join me. Whew, man, I'm still struggling from the holidays. I should have took some more time off. So once again, I hope everybody have a good night. So I'm gonna play this while people are coming in. And once again, we're gonna talk about that Amazon scanner. You see it right there. You can pay using your palm print. So once again, I don't know if I like that or not, but we're gonna talk about it. Cisco V, good evening, and let's go put him on up there. The first time, yeah, me too. I was going to Whole Foods trying to lose a little weight and give me a salad. I was just staring at it, Cisco V. You know, that's one of the most expensive grocery stores on the planet. So I was like you, I was just staring at it. I was at Whole Foods going, yeah, I ain't doing that. That's what I was thinking, Cisco V. But yeah, that's actually where I saw it. That's what made me do it. It's like, I'm gonna do a video about this and let's just check it out. Talk about the security of it. Once again, I think Amazon's got some of the best security on the planet. So let's listen to this video while people file in. Let me know if you can hear it. That was the other thing we're gonna pivot to is now just not that you can buy grocery store, you can actually use it like you said, get in buildings, get indoors, get on certain floors of your elevator, right? So they're adding more functionality to it. Let's listen to this other one real quick too. They had a little one talking more about the grocery store. So let me switch over to that one too while people falling in. Like I said, I don't think I'm doing it. Let's see. Cisco V, are you going to use the palm print when you go on Whole Foods with your credit card? You think you're going to do it, Cisco V? What's your thoughts on that?
This is Zoe. Just like you, she uses lots of different cards and IDs to get through her day. What if all Zoe needed was herself? Introducing Amazon One, a free service that lets you use your palm to quickly pay for things, gain access, earn rewards, and more. Let's say you're grabbing your favorite coffee beverage, or heading into the office, or checking out. Just hover your palm and you're on your way. It's as easy as that. Sign up is free and takes less than a minute. All you need is a credit card, your phone number, and your palm. That's it. Since your palm is unique and can't be lost or misplaced, you can get things done quickly and securely. And with more experiences on the way, Amazon One will help you get even more done, simply by being you. Now, Zoe has more time to do what she loves, indoor skydiving. Enter, identify, and pay with Amazon One.
Shout out to Zoe, man. You got more time, though. Shout out to Cisco V. I'm see if he's still on. You're going to use that, your palm print with your credit card, right? But once again, I do see a use case for it, right? It makes sense. I just don't know if once again if I want to put my palm print on there, right? We're gonna talk about that too. There's a website. Kind of what's the issues? If somebody hack and get your palm print, you see that stuff on Mission Impossible. Can I take your palm print and put on a lax a lax I'm sorry, a this glove, and then am I you because I got your palm print? Right. So those are some of the things we're gonna shout out to Cisco. That's a hard pass for me. So I think trending that way. Yeah, I think it is. I'm a little old, so I'm like you, I'm a little late to the game. But yeah, I think that's gonna be a hard pass. So let's look at this quick CNBC article. I'm just gonna read through it, then we're gonna start digging into it. We're gonna look at the technology of it. Once again, some of the security issues of it. Then we're going to look at the privacy, what data they're saving, how's Amazon actually using privacy to protect you, and how that's going to look in the future, right? Talk about their from a security architect standpoint, what would that look like when how they would set it up once again to secure you, right? So we're going to look at CNBC. Once again, they're looking at it from a business perspective and from a higher level, and we're going to drill down. So let's see what my man welcome. Therefore, I'll stick with my Apple Pay. Facts. Let's see what's on here. I think that's pretty secure. Yeah, facts. No, I agree with you. Apple is definitely on the top. I could see it being privacy issue. Everything's a privacy issue, but yeah, we're gonna dig into it a little more. Once again, let's look at the CNBC article. Amazon is introducing. Let's see. Amazon is introducing a version of a palm scanning technology for business. The company's pitching this service as a way for employees to swipe their hand to enter an office or access sensitive data. And Amazon One payment system is used for in the company grocery stores. A lot of people don't realize Amazon bought Whole Foods for a crazy amount of money, probably 3 or 4 years ago. So they're adding some of those technologies for Amazon, I think, as a pilot project, all right, a medium scale pilot project for them. Then they scaling it up to big business. Right? So there you see, Amazon is expanding its palm scanning technology beyond the grocery store and rolling it out to versions that's designed for the business world. Amazon One Enterprise repackages the company palm-based payment system as an authentication tool that lets corporate employees swipe their hand to enter an office or access sensitive information like financial data or human resource records. Right. So now we use MFA, your phone. Some people got YubiKeys. In the future, you probably be a scanner on your PC. You just scan your palm. There's a lot of fingerprint readers that you can use to open up your laptop to authenticate to your laptop, but I don't think we're using it to authenticate into databases, into HR systems and financial data systems. I haven't seen that yet. So I think Amazon's trying to make that leap to that, right? I guess, is that a better MFA? Companies already signed up, right? This is biometric technology, including HIG hotels, resorts, Turnstile Manufacturing, Boone, Adam Kuhn, an escalator and elevator provider. Amazon didn't disclose pricing for the services, which is available in preview in the US starting Monday. Amazon is pitching the service as a cheaper, more secure solution for enterprise compared with traditional security authentication tools like we talked about, 5 badges or passwords. So I guess to the chat, do you think your palm is more secure than 5 badges or password from a biometric and MFA standpoint? All right. So they once again pitching it as a better security for that. Businesses appreciate the privacy and convenience of for their users who can access physical locations and software assets with just a hover of their palm. A vice president oversees Amazon Web Service application in a statement. Amazon debuted it in biometric payment system in 2020. The technology was originally conceived as a way for shoppers to pay for purchases by swiping their hand. It's been deployed in Whole Food stores, some Go convenient marts, and several fresh supermarkets. Sport and entertainment venues have also adopted technology, as some of Panera Bread restaurants and a handful of Starbucks. Right. So I believe Amazon's giving people a discount so they can beta test it and be a proof of concept. But obviously, those are some big corporations with a lot of users that are putting the technology to use, right? I'm calling it a better MFA, right? Because your Palm's already with you. You don't have to worry about your battery going out on your phone. You don't have to worry about anybody losing your phone, right? Or losing your fob, or losing your MFA device. Excuse me, struggling a little bit today. I guess we're going to see a rise in missing hand figures in the future to come. Well, if you remember James Bond and the old James Bond, they would take people's eyes out and do cut off their hands in the old James Bond. I was going to put it into here, but I didn't think YouTube would like that. But no, facts, right? The old James Bond movies, that's what they used to do. So let's keep rolling. The advocacy group have criticized the service over privacy and security concerns, contending it leads to increased surveillance. Amazon says pay recognition is more private than other biometrics because you can't determine a person's identity by looking at the image of their palm. The company also claims it doesn't capture purchase data from scans collected by the non-Amazon stores. We're reimagining Amazon One for enterprise. The company is following a playbook that adopted elsewhere. Earlier this month, Amazon debuted Astro for Business. I did a video of that, a version of a household robot that's framing a rover security guard for businesses, right? So what Amazon's doing is a lot of their consumer stuff, they're just moving it over to business, right? Because you can have that dual application, and once they get it kind of approved for the home, they can scale it for business, right? So once again, it's a smaller use case. Consumers, a lot of the first movers, they just like it. They don't really, so they fine with the bugs as they work stuff out. Then when you get to business, right, and you start charging astronomical prices, they want those issues, worked out and solved. Here, let's switch. So again, if you got any questions, just drop them off. We just checking that out. There it is. Boom, boom. See how that looks. Yeah, so let's kind of peek at that. And that's something we looked at the video. Amazon wants to scan your palm and let you enter the office. That's what we were just looking at a minute ago. AWS Palm scanning technology is available as user part of a new package that allows users of biometrics to control access to offices and factory. Amazon One Enterprises can also be used as authentication system for access restricted to digital assets such as financial or HR data. Amazon One Enterprise brings biometric to the office. Amazon is scanning technology plan and imagery for biometric. The company said it has an accuracy of 99.49, the highest of the market. It uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to create a palm signature that's associated with your identification credentials like a badge, employee ID, or a PIN. The palm signature is based on numerical factors created by the user's palm, an image that can be replicated. Let's see, I'm just kind of from this is what we're talking about. There is using biometric data a privacy risk. Oh, yes, it is, right? It's the shout out to Keep It Techie. Salute, sorry, I've been out of pocket. I had a couple. I hope you feel better. I hope you feel better. Something's going around. I heard a few people talked about that. Hope you feel better. I use a prosthetic as a biometric tool. That's not my actual physical body part. Facts. That's a good point, man. Shout out to Ty for joining us. So let's talk about the risk of that. Let me make that a little bigger so we can see it. So the AWS systems will make life easier for employees too by eliminating the need for multiple identification methods such as key fob, access cards, and password. It says data registered in Amazon One Enterprise, such as the palm images, user credentials, and other metadata is immediately encrypted. using industry-leading encryption technology before being sent to a dedicated server in the cloud. The user palm data is encrypted using a unique key. AWS claims it can be easily deleted when a staff member leaves their job, right? So this is Amazon trying to make you feel better about giving them your prime print, right? So if somebody hack them once again and they get your prime print, or they're you now, right? So however, the privacy campaigners argue that storing and using such information as a security witch could be targeted by hackers. An independent review of biometrical landscape in the UK, carried out last year by Ada Lovelace AI Research, found there was a need for comprehensive new laws and enforcement body to protect against misuse of biometrics. Report author Matthew said at the time the current legal regime is fragmented, confused, and failing to keep pace with technology in advance. We currently need an ambitious new legislative framework, specifically for biometrics. We must not allow the use of biometric data to proliferate under inadequate laws and insufficient regulation. Right, and I think that's huge, right? And the U.S. we usually really bad about that. Usually we use the product and we figure out how to get the legal system up to it, right? To figure out what it is. So, but two is that's the goal, Rush, right? You're in the gray area. You can start using technology in a way that's, probably a little abusive, but you get that use case, you get it proved out in real life, and once again, you start making money, right? So that's kind of the trade-off with that. Let's switch over to this other article where they were actually talking about the security concerns. Let's see. You see there right there, I have a highlight. Let's make that a little bigger too. Amazon Pay Palm. This was actually done in 2021. I think that's what they were referencing there, right? Was him. So let's dig into the article and see what extra security concerns he said. You got any IT questions or cybersecurity questions? Put them in the box, and we can always pivot to them and pivot back. So let's talk about the concerns. Amazon recently announced the rollout of Amazon One near its Seattle, Washington headquarters, allow consumers to use their palm print when linked with their credit card to pay for their items at a local Whole Foods. That's what my Cisco we were talking about. We saw that at our local Whole Foods. How security types of the payment methods. What could be the future implication of a company like Amazon having this sort of biometrical information? There's my man, Professor Vera Pra, is a professor of electrical engineering and computer science at Syracuse University. His expertise areas include biometrics, cybersecurity, machine learning, smartphone and tablet security. The professor answered a few questions about biometrical technology. He's available for interviews and additional questions. What's your initial thoughts on biometric? Typically, palm prints are based on the characteristics of palm, such as length and width of the palm finger, bone structures, and surface area of palm, lines and ridges on the palm. This can be a contact base, such as place your hand on a scanner. Placement must be guided by position pins that align the hand correctly for the camera. It could be contactless also through cameras. Such a form of scan picture is taken to the palm. Although different people have different palm structure and palm veins, privacy and security will be an issue because there's a lot of overlap in the structure of hands of different people. So this biometric is easy to spoof. Identity theft may be a bigger problem as compared to facial biometrics. It will be relatively easy to spoof or claim the identity of an individual. It can be a concern if the palm metric is linked to credit cards and the information is stored on the cloud, and the cloud is under Amazon control. Right, so he thinks you can spoof a palm, which kind of makes sense, right? You got the width, people touch stuff, so he believes you can, I guess, spoofing will have you in danger. The benefits of the technology: sturdy and user-friendly ease of use is high. Changes in skin moisture or texture does not affect the result. There are not many studies that examine where the difference in the palm structure for different ethnicities. The drawback of this technology is there's a lot of overlap in the structure of a hand of different people. So it's easy to spoof. The security of this system is not as high as, say, a fingerprint, right? So that was one of his issues. He doesn't think palm is as secure as fingerprint, which it's an interesting thought. Let's see what my man said. How's it going? It's going okay. Late night, just trying to get on a live and chop it up. Can't complain, man. I had a good holiday. Hopefully, everybody have a good Thanksgiving. So let's keep rolling to see what my man's issues is. How would one spoof for a palm print? Typically, ways of spoofing palm print are as a silicone glove, building a model of the victim through replicating the palm print or image from a picture of the individual palm and from the palm print left on the glass, right? We've seen that in a ton of Mission Impossible scenarios. If you ever looked at those, they're always getting people's handprint, fingerprint, voice print is on a ton of Mission Impossibles, right? What are some of the safeguards used to put in to prevent the misuse? In addition to cryptographic and secure computer methods, I think Palm biometrics should be combined with some other form of biometrics or identification to include some form of a second factor. That's interesting, right? Because actually, I was thinking of it more as a second factor. But with your palm, when we saw the young lady on, I can't remember her name, she just used her palm to get in, right? It'd be different if you use your password and your palm print. Make it two-factor, right? We always know two factors, but should we be concerned of having a large retailer tech company like Amazon with access to these kind of biological identifiers? Yes, because unlike the face, one has to depend on an algorithm to refute any false positives. Your face is visible, so one can refute any allegations in a straightforward way. For example, in the case of facial recognition, the person accused were able to refute it because they saw the face of the real person who was to be charged and said this is not them. So that's interesting, right? So if it's just your palm, how do we know your palm is it once again? So like you said, I think it should be linked to two-factor, but let's keep going. Similar to facial recognition software, how should companies navigate the use of this sort of technology by law enforcement? To the large extent, palm print is similar to a fingerprint because the image picture is taken and just visual inspection does not identify a person unlike a face. Algorithm matching has to be done, and I feel that there's a few chances of implicit bias based on a palm print compared to facial recognition, right? So that's interesting because I never would have thought about the implicit bias of a palm print compared to a facial recognition, right? So once again, we wanted to look at the positives and negatives of any technology. So we wanted to touch on what he believed was the negative part of using a palm print, right? And the implicit bias. And shout out to Operation Takeover. Peace and blessings, big homie. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Everybody, hope everybody have a good hump day. So now let's dig into the security of that. So let me switch over. So when I thought about it, everybody know I'm a GRC guy, cybersecurity. So I like, what security does that fall under, right? So that's the cool thing about Amazon. They give you a lot of cool stuff. Make that a little bigger. So if it's doing your palm print, it's doing the credit cards, right? That's controlled by PCI DSS, which is basically the credit card compliance. So how does their system comply with the credit card regulations and compliance of what you need to do, right? So we're gonna look at this at a high level, kind of flow through, right? So we talked about the legal part, the societal and the ethical part. We talked about the convenience. We talked about going from credit cards to building security. Your palm will be the new badge and control the doors and stuff, which is just a nice pivot. Once again, salute PBO chat. I'm sorry, Scott. Facts, I agree with that. And we were because I said on a couple of things, and I'm gonna do a stream on that. I think Amazon is more dangerous than Google now because they have so many products like this that people are using and uploading that additional data to their cloud, right? So I think Amazon actually has more data than Google with different levels of it, right? So I take and keep it. So let's look at this credit card scoping and architecture, right? So what is architecture? How could I design Amazon in the cloud using this VPC subnets to make sure it could pass a PCI compliance check, right? Because you're using credit cards. So once again, that's the compliance you will have to do to be able to take credit cards. So let's kind of flow through it. We're just gonna once again flow through it quickly. Let me, if I can find, there it is. Got a lot of windows open. So we're gonna hit them on. We're gonna talk a little bit about segmentation, infrastructure, managed services. We're gonna touch on PCI DSS, scope identification, depending on how many transactions and the volumes. There's different levels to it. Shared responsibility. What's the cloud responsible for, and what you're responsible for? Virtualization of traditional networking. Shout out to my man Cisco V2. We're gonna talk a little bit about the networking in there, abstract API infrastructure, data segmentation in the cloud. We're going to talk about the multi-account. Multi-account is basically their blueprint for how you should set up an AWS infrastructure. It should be multiple accounts, and we'll look at the different accounts and say why that's the I guess preferred setup for them. All right, we're talking about infrastructure, what's out of scope. AWS Control Tower, once again, is another services. It tells you best of breed how you should set up to run a company. I don't think that's the network layer 3 and 4, application layer 7. We're going to peek at that. Once again, that's the setup. So you can run Amazon One, which is their palm reader hooked to your credit card. This is how you need to set up to be able to accept credit cards. All right. So once again, we want to check on the tech part a little bit. Got to jump in the tech part a little bit. So let's keep rolling. Once again, if you got any questions or anything, just drop them in the chat. We can get to it. So you like to say, we're going to be skipping. I should have put it in some slides. I was tired. So once again, this paper provides guidance on how to properly define the scope of your payment credit card industry data security standards. We said PCI DSS. That's what it stands for. Once again, payment card industry data security standards, workloads running AWS Cloud, as well as how to define segmentation boundaries between in-scope resources and your out-of-scope resources in your cloud native. So once again, this talks about that. Once understanding the scope, let's talk a little bit about segmentation. Segmentation is colloquially under PCI DSS requirement 0 is not a formal PCI DSS requirement. Segmentation is usually to limit the PCI DSS scope to systems involved in the payment flow before addressing your system. Traditionally, organizations use network segmentation as key control to limit their PCI DSS in-scope environment and protect it from the rest of their IT infrastructure, right? So, and we're going to show a subnet and an architectural diagram of what that looks like in person, right? So once again, we're just touching on it. So what's in scope? Where are you taking a credit card? Where does your credit card data flow through? And what's not is what's not in that area. What does not touch your credit card data? Infrastructure services, security groups, right? Those are their kind of internal firewalls. AWS Directory Service for Microsoft Active Directory. Most companies are using Active Directory on-prem, so you can seek your on-prem with your Active Directory on top, right? So you can have your same security on-prem as you do in the cloud. And we all know Kubernetes hot, Docker's hot, Elastic containers are hot. So how do you want to roll that out, right? Managed services, what database you want to save it in, IAM, how you going to control your password, VPC. We're going to dig in a little bit more. Once again, they got an architectural diagram. How do you going to configure your network to show what's in scope and what's out of scope? Let's see. Got to be careful. Someone's going to take that flipper. Nah, facts, man. Nah, you got to be careful. Facts. Shout out to my man. Salute. Let's keep going. Like I said, I'm going to flow through this. Like I said, you want me to stop and hit something hard, just let me know. I just kind of want to hit it at the top. Some of the scope of scenarios. One, PCID resources hosted on AWS and have network connections to your on-prem. Scenario 2 is your resources hosted on-prem and data center and have networks and connections to AWS. PCID resources hosted both on-prem and in AWS, right? So those are 3 ways you can set up their Amazon One, once again, credit card palm reader. So what's works best for your organization, right? If you knew, I would put everything in the cloud, right? Compared to what's in the cloud. It's just showing you when your credit card flow comes in, types of services, infrastructure managed versus abstract, identifying your systems, right? I put this document inside the description too. It's at the bottom. I need to check. I heard Amazon's taking links out there, so I try to put it in there. So let's say, like I said, we're gonna just flow through that segmentation. They have some of those at the bottom where we can actually see an architectural diagram, which is here. All right. So you see AWS organizational unit. You got your foundational use where you got your security and your infrastructure, your CDs, your credit card workloads. And two is usually you have out of scope other operation and deployment, sandbox, non-credit card. I'm sorry, yeah, non-credit card workloads, policy statements, deployment exceptions, right? So only thing will be inside your scope right there would be the CDE of your credit cards, right? And two is you want to limit the scope because when auditors come in, the more stuff they gotta look at, the higher your bill. So we want to keep our credit card stuff to the credit card OU to the credit card work segments, right? So when they come in, they only have to look at that one OU from Amazon. I'm sorry, yeah, for our Amazon organizational unit, right? We want to keep our we want to keep our audits tight. We don't want to be overdoing it, right? So it's gonna keep flowing through on there. Like I said, I didn't want to drift through. Once again, I put the lock in there. The two is our workload. Once again, that's what's in scope. Our PCI PCI application production, right? This is our non-PCI. This is our PCI test. We should have test data in there and not the real PCI credit card data. So once again, so when auditors come in, they're just going to look at the green box, what's in scope. So that might be 5 VMs, ROAR database, maybe a little automation there, right? Then we could have another 400 VMs over here. Once again, we don't want our auditors having to look at unnecessary infrastructure and technologies that's going to make our bill bigger. So that's what they're showing right there. Once again, we got our security OU. So that's something that's going to be in scope. We're going to be checking monitoring. We're going to be having our fraud coming from the security OU to make sure nobody's trying to charge fraud to our credit card. We're going to have the log archives. So if something happens, somebody does a flipper, we got to be able to log to figure out who got us, right? So once again, you're going to have part of your security in scope. Let's see. I'm just kind of, I thought there was one big one. And here's kind of the Amazon VPC with reference. You got VPC pairing. You got multiple availability zones for your different account. Once again, out of scope of the SG and in scope, right? So everything in the I think the orange box they said is in scope. Everything in the purple is out of scope, right? So that's how once again you want to control your traffic, control your credit card, spinning up VM specifically to do your credit card work. Pairing means basically I can get from this availability zone and region to that, right? It's called VPC pairing. I usually use more transit gateway, but we can talk about that later in the AWS, right? So once again, they're using AWS firewall. Shout out to my man Cisco. I don't know if he's still here. So and two is you can actually put the Cisco Machis inside the AWS firewall, so it looks like one subnet from on-prem to your AWS cloud, right? How do you enforce policy? What are policies? Password complexity, making sure we're doing MFA inside before you get to do that infrastructure, right? We were talking about using it for MFA, but you can say you can use. I usually do Cisco Duo when I do my labbing, right, to make sure that's segmented. Once again, AWS firewall. We want to make sure it's segmented. Right here, we're talking about the application layer firewall. The application handles account data and manage the data flow and define segmentation boundaries. AWS provides minutes API-based abstracted layers. If you're using Lambda, Amazon S3, DynamoDB, right? That's a database, kind of a object-oriented file system in Lambda. You can run code on the serverless application. I'm a Java guy, so I usually run Java and Lambda, right? So AIM, right? Identity and access management, segmenting the abstracted layer. So once again, I think there it is right there. That's our AWS account coming through the AWS gateway, coming from the internet, load balancers, your EC2 endpoint. Usually I'm running Amazon Linux, low elastic beanstalk. That's where we put our code at, or Lambda if we run the services, and that's it, right? So segmented use of API gateway for extractive. Right? So this is just kind of showing some best of breed setup for our Amazon One credit card using a Palm. They're just showing you the best setup for that. So let's see what's going on in the box. Big bro, so how would you harden it up to decrease your risk? Would it be more in encryption? Yeah, they talked about that. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna say what I would harden it. Still here, boss, taking notes. I see we get in your world, Cisco. You can chime in a little bit. We talking about the network setup, how we gonna segment it, how we gonna keep on-prem and off-prem. I'm sure we're gonna have a VPN tunnel in there to make sure everybody's locked up. What if I have an accident? Identical twin, your palm still should be the same. Aiken. How about a lot of facts where it could reader affected? No, but theoretically, even though you biological twin, your facial features are similar, but they're still different enough where the reader and AWS has some kind of recognition, or Amazon One. Um, your lines and your hands aren't going to be the exact same size, right? Your facial features are similar, but we really talking about the palm from this. So I think your palm, even as a twin, is going to be significantly different enough, Aiken. So that shouldn't be a problem. How do you set up patch management system that keeps your network hardened? Yeah, if you look up and I did a video about that, and I'm definitely gonna. They have something called a system manager that's built in, and you can schedule system manager to run every Friday. You can have it. It'll go through it hard and patch everything up. And I got a video on that, Ty. I probably should talk about that. But now Amazon has all that built in, so that especially anything you got to remember though. There's two things: is any services used that they provide, you can use Service Manager on it. Anything you provide, Ty, we have to come up with our own patch management, right? And two, if we're going to do that, part of it's going to be Windows. I would just use the standard Microsoft patching tools because we're still going to run Windows 2019 inside AWS. So you can use that patch feature on-prem or in the cloud. Oh, cool. Shout out to that. I was a full stack. What's your stack, man? I did Java, Oracle, and PL SQL for 10 years before I got into cybersecurity. So I always tell people networking or programming is a good way to get in cybersecurity. Once again, I did Oracle, Java, and PL SQL for 10 years for DoD for full stack. Then I started getting on putting that stuff in AWS, spinning that stuff in VM's Clue channel. So that's really how I got an infrastructure. I became a web admin because when you do your development, you got to test it somewhere. So I became proficient in Apache and Tomcat. Then I started doing it from a infrastructure perspective. So that's how I actually got into it. But now, shout out to full. I miss programming. I'm actually doing more of from a GRC perspective. I'm doing more not C sharp, but Power Builder and Power Automate, and I'm hoping to do forms, and I'm gonna create a GRC. So that's what the full stack I'm gonna get back into. Shout out to my man Keep It Tech. Send it to Aiken. What's up to Ty? Shout out to my man Ty. As a medical professional, you're all right, bro. Still small differences, even if you're a twin. May not be record facts. Shout out to my man. I needed my HIPAA guy to come in and validate that. So yeah. So let's see what my man Clue is. Yeah, I've been doing a little more PHP, MySQL, JavaScript, H5, C3. That's a good stack, man. PHP, super MySQL. I do that on AWS. They have their MySQL and they have Aurora, which is MySQL in the cloud on steroids. So I actually been doing a little more Aurora, and one of their versions of Aurora is MySQL or Postgres. I like Postgres a little more because I get to use T-SQL from a more programming for a back-end guy. But now, shout out to that. Let's keep rolling on there. Get back to the arc. So, like my man Cisco 25 was saying, so this is the VPC, which is a verse. I think they got some a little more detail coming up. This here, once again, I put the link in there. Amazon Fargate is their service compute. So you don't have to spin up servers. You can just put them in there and they actually run your code. So when your code gets hit, it actually spins up a VM that they control underneath. It runs, and after a certain amount of time, it decompiles itself, right? So you don't have to worry about all that infrastructure. And here's you can run it on ECS, which is Docker, right there. Architect Amazon ECS, which is Docker for PCI compliance, or EKS, which is, everybody knows Kubernetes is hot, right? So that's the Kubernetes part. So you can pick, once again, that's the shout out to AWS. You can pick your infrastructure, what you like, what you're comfortable with, and you can run their product on the infrastructure you feel more comfortable with, right? So you can run EC2 in containers, or you can launch them in Fargate. Once again, a lot of tech background. Like I said, I just want to touch at a high level on it. We can dig down a little later if y'all want to get deeper. I think they have one more. I thought they would have a better. Let's see. Let's see if they. That's EKS. Ooh, let's look at the EKS infrastructure real quick and see if they have a better diagram. Come on, I need a diagram. My bad. I should look this up earlier. I'm freestyling it. Like Kendrick Lamar, boo, we didn't get one. So let's keep rolling. What did I else want to talk about? So let's switch over to, once again, put any more checks in there. Like I said, I just want to hit some of the security on there. Once again, I got these in the description of the video. So we're talking about their Amazon One, which is their credit card or door. They talk about here security of the cloud, security in the cloud, data protection in Amazon One Enterprise. If you want to do identity and access management protection in there, action resources and conditional keys of Amazon, compliance validation, right? So it tells you different ways to set it up. Let's see, do I want to let's peek in there and see. This much their standard stuff. So the cool thing is, once again, they give you a blueprint of how you should set it up. They give you different options to set it up. If you want to federate it, IAM roles. I'm just reading some of the stuff I clicked on those. So that just, and then once again, they tell you how to set it up. A lot of times too, they give you a template where you can spin it up, and it could just spin it all up preset for you, right? Which is kind of cool for that. Let's see, what was that one? Action define. Let's see. And if you look over there to the left, you see logging and monitoring. It's the only thing they do, right? We got to log it and monitoring and keep track of it, right? So we talked about, and we're going to look at the video grid. So when you scan your hand, all right, we talked about the pluses and minuses from the one doctor. He think you can get a silicone hand and take a picture of a hand and spoof the hand, right? Two, then we talked about the infrastructure setup, how the best breed of how we would set it up. Once again, those links are in the description. Let's see. Oh, let's see where my man's at. Let's look at a couple more of these. I'm good. Looking to get another job. I feel you. I feel you. Let's see what my man said. That's my first spot. Yep, I already hit that. We talked about that. Let's see. Get that. Yeah, Node.js is hot. I think I want to do PHP, or because Amazon uses a lot of PHP for automation. So I think that's kind of what I'm kind of looking more into, because uh, security automation. I did a video. So if somebody hacks a VM, you can hit a button, it would copy the VM, dump all the registries out, get it ready. Shout out to Gabe. Get it ready for the red team to come in and do forensic analysis of it. You don't want those guys waiting around charging you a big bill. So we're going to use some of the AWS automation. Salute, PB on the chat, studying for it. It's going pretty good. I'm going for it. Good luck. Good luck. It's going pretty good. I've been taking some practice tests, so I've been scoring a little better. So I'm thinking about sitting for it next month, but I'm like, dude, I don't want to pay $700 and come back not victorious. Yep, facts. Keep hydrated. Get that zinc. Facts, man. Something's going around because I know a few people got sick on that. Let's see. Everybody saying what's up. People telling Reno other skirts. Let's see. Gotta make sure facts. Let's see what my man said. PHP is my joint object-oriented program is what I went to. Oh, facts. That was a hard lift for me. I went from relational and straight structure when I had to go to object oriented. Me trying to learn Java from doing just regular programming, doing Oracle forms and report to going to object oriented. That was a huge lift for me. I struggled probably. It took me probably, I was programming and making apps, but I wasn't doing object oriented right. I had a master detail object instead of having one object with my details in it. I carried around a couple of objects for a couple of months, Clue Channel. So it took me a while for that to sink in from an object oriented standpoint. You start talking about inheritance and polymorphisms. I try to get all that down and program it and use it the right way. What's about using third party print? You could that could be if you had a bust of the hand, Aiken, you could probably do, because remember the one guy said if he took your drink glass, he thought he could make it off of there, right? And we've seen that on Mission Impossible forever. So yeah, Java, C++. Oh, yeah, facts. But you got to remember, when I got my college degree, it was 1990, so Java wasn't even out. I was doing pure C without the plus plus, so I had to do all my own memory management. I used to hate C. Oh my God, I hated C. But now facts, man. So yeah, I got my bachelor's of computer science in 1990. So we were doing, what we doing C? No, we were doing. I was actually doing assembler. I take that back. We were doing a similar. I didn't get in C till actually I graduated, but we were actually doing a hard code assembler. Let's see, I've been in course CodeCamp to breath. Oh yeah, CodeCamp is excellent, man. Shout out to Keep It Courses, Keep It Techie's course. So let's go back real quick and get where we started from real quick. Let's listen to it one more time. It's probably gonna pay a commercial. That's really was. They're using their palm reader and giving it extra features. I'll drop the link if anybody want to come up. Let's see. I'm the class of 2002, so that's beginning to be. Yeah, facts. When I was coming, it was just really getting started. And really, the only people back then had internet was a lot of bigger colleges you could get to the internet. So now it's amazing how far we've come, right? I was really before networking, man. We were walking around with floppy disks, and everybody remember when Novell Network came out. It was hot. I was Novell certified for a while, doing networks for a minute. Then I became an Oracle DBA and got really my first big bag when I became an Oracle DBA. So once again, I dropped the link if anybody want to come up. What do I want to wrap it up with? Let me switch. Just for me, I thought I saw, like my man Cisco said, I was at Whole Foods trying to get a salad. PBO got to lose some weight 2024. So I saw it there and I was just kind of intrigued about what is that and would I actually do it? I think the answer for me is a no. And you see it right there. And two is you at the Whole Foods, you use it to check out and you can link it to your credit card. So that's it. So that kind of what made me think of the stream. Then two is from a cybersecurity perspective, right? What's the privacy issue? We talked a little bit about the security issues. I think it is the future. I think you're going to use yourself as an MFA, multi-factor authentication is going to be your palm instead of your phone, right? We're looking at some of the phones are getting so small, right? So I think that's the natural progression of that. And two is a lot of times is, once again, from a cybersecurity perspective, and somebody put that in there, how would I harden that? Shout out to Amazon. They usually give you the blueprint from VPC, your networking, security, IAM. encryption, if you're gonna run containers, you're gonna run a serverless application, what databases do you want to use? So you can pick and choose. So from a cybersecurity perspective, that helps me look at stuff different and start checking it out. How you doing tonight, man? I can't hear you. I can't
I'm
hear you.
good, big bro.
Oh,
Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm good, bro. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain, man. Just trying to do something late night before I get on this hump day.
Yeah, I saw this too. That freaked me out when I saw that. I was like, bro, that's crazy. The only thing I started thinking about, what's coming next, that chip. When how big we won't put that chip in your hand. Bro,
Oh
yeah,
man,
yeah,
I guess do we need a chip if we got the handprint? Because people
I
don't
don't know.
realize, and that guy talked about it is with facial recognition, you don't need a chip because I know your face. So when you walk through the doors, and now you scan with your palm, you can come on in, right? So
Right,
I think that's the new
right.
chip.
Yeah, you're right. It could be. Plus, like you said, by the time they get that, go around the store, so they got the cameras everywhere, so they're watching you, so they seeing everything you're looking at, different foods you get. It's gonna get to the point now where they already gonna know they're gonna know your grocery list before you know your grocery list, because they're gonna be able to
Oh,
see your facial recognitions, how your eyebrow raised, you know what I'm saying, everything about
there.
different foods you look at and go to. They're gonna have your list before you walk in the door. They're like, oh hey PBO, how you doing? We know you want this. They're gonna have
Oh,
you ready at the front for you. Like, oh, your grocery list already at the front. I just got in the door. Oh no, we know what you want. It's already at the front door for you. It's ready for
yeah.
check.
Yeah, Amazon already did. Amazon already does it because when you order for Amazon, right, they say, well, it's been. Do you want to reorder? You wanted this, so I think you like these other four things, or you bought this.
Mhm.
These will help you, right? So Amazon's already doing that, right? So and
Yeah.
Walmart's right behind them. So let me holler at my man. Jason, I've been on for about 15 minutes. I think sometimes they're a little slow with the notices. I've been up once again for 51 minutes, so I've been on for a minute, Jason. I appreciate you. Check out the replay if you get a chance for it. But no, I think that's the new chip. And I said on one, I've been saying this on a lot of lives. I think Amazon's got more data than Google, so I think they're more
I believe
dangerous.
it. I totally agree with that, because you got to think they've got to subscribe on stuff, like certain stuff like towel paper and certain
Oh,
products. They got to subscribe on there where you get you get your savings from keeping the automatic supplies and stuff like that. So you're right. I mean, especially with the way they've changed the game with next day shipping and
oh yeah.
same day shipping, and everybody just putting all their information in. There, there's no way you can tell me that they don't have Google Beat with that information. They've got to have Google Beat at this point. They've got to. I totally agree with you. They've got to have more data than Google.
So yeah. My man Cisco B said, visit Universal Studios recently. Fingerprints was required to access the parks. Wow. So that's crazy, man. But I could see them doing it because they want to keep track of you. You got kids there, so they want to make sure their security is on point, man. So they want to. And two is, I think they're going to start. People don't realize this. They're going to take your fingerprint. They're going to run your fingerprint through the National Fingerprint Database to figure out if you got any issues. Because there's like 2 or 3 big fights broke out at some of those parks. So I think they're going to really start getting that in control. So when you get your fingerprint, you're not going to realize that you're going to release authorization for them to run your stuff to a because once again I do IRS work and work for the Fed, so my fingerprints are in the FBI database. They tell you all the federals they go through an FBI database, so they're gonna run your stuff. So prisons, or you gonna be in the FBI database because you working. So now I could definitely see that, Cisco B. I can definitely see that. What's your thoughts on
That's
that?
probably that's probably go along with the facial recognition too, because they're
Yeah.
getting that information. Like you said, these fights work out. These people you see on World Star, it's all fun and games until, like you said, they start cracking in on this, and then they get your face, and they realize in the parks who was fighting. That next time you go get in line with your kids is going to the park, they're like, nah, we can't let you in.
Fact.
Last time you had too much ruckus. Last time you was here,
Yeah.
we got you on
No.
camera, brother. We know who you are.
Yeah, facts. A lot of people, and I usually do this around the Super Bowl every year. When you walking up, they taking facial recognition. They run it through all the international databases, state databases. So if you got anything, you're not getting into the Super Bowl. People don't realize that. So I usually do a stream on the security of the Super Bowl. One in New Orleans, they had river boats that had security on it. They had helicopters. They had a couple of F-15s in the sky. So if somebody was looked like they were gonna try to crash airplane in there, they wasn't gonna make it. So yeah, they got all that. They got prop planes. They had dogs on the floor. I think they said they had 2,000 undercover officers just walking around in the audience. So nah, man, that security for those high level events is gonna be. So yeah, I usually do that on the Super Bowl. But yeah, so and we talked about this. This is just a natural progression, right? So we talked about the chip. This is the new chip. So right, I don't think you're gonna need the chip. Facial recognition in your prime print, it's over with. Man.
Right. Yeah, you ain't getting away with too much after this. Once everything really gets dialed in, yeah, they're gonna have everything they need. I mean, of course, we know people are gonna find their way around stuff. I mean, if somebody really wants to do something, they're gonna be able to do it. But for the most part, your common, just low level stuff, yeah, they're about to shut a lot of that stuff down. You ain't gonna get away with everything you used to get away with.
No, facts. So no, that's 100%. And usually that's how they do. They start. I have a degree in the proud facts, man. I got one, but that's another discussion, Joe, exclusive. we talk about that's another. Is a degree needed? Is it 100%? Can you get in without one? That's a whole nother stream, Joe, exclusive. That's a whole nother stream, and two is I think after the boomers kind of transition out, I think the new regime, they're not going to look at degrees the same as the older regime, especially for your entry level and above entry level positions. I think with boot camps and now are becoming more progressive, and even Meta and now the FANG guys, so they're looking at boot camps and projects more than degrees now. So that's. But two is Joe, I'm with you. Like I said, I got my bachelor's of science in 1990. So is my skill still relevant? Most of my programming stuff was done on a mainframe. I did COBOL, RPG, PL1, right? I did a little ADA. So are those skills transferred to the new regime where we're talking about cloud and Aurora and a NoSQL database, all right? And we're talking about Rust and different programming languages, right? So keeping up with all that stuff is a positive, negative about technology. So
I think the higher up you get, it probably will still, be needed because you start getting like the C-suite and some of those high level director positions. Most companies are still going to want you to have something, even if, like you said, the boomers coming in may not necessarily be, but those certain companies, they're going to have those board directors, and then board directors is going to want somebody with some kind of degree saying something. I mean, it's cool you went to a boot camp and you did whatever, but they're gonna want some people with degrees in there in these high level seats.
Yeah, because then too, which is pluses and minuses. Because I go for senior level positions that want 10 years or more. So you get a lot of people responding to that. So the only way to cut that down is a lot of times they ask for degrees. Even if they don't say required, they say preferred. And two is we know everybody want remote jobs. So the jobs I were applying for, 300 people were applying for those jobs. So you're not gonna look at 300 resumes. So you're gonna use degrees to cut the list way down. So I was seeing that because remote work is so hard to get now, depending especially on your skill set. And two is if you look on Indeed, when you see a remote job, it'd be like 200 people apply for it, right? So they're looking for certain certs and certain degrees and certain work experience to get there. Once again, they have so many applicants applying for those jobs. So.
But like you said before, though, they do, but there's so many places now that are wanting people to come back into the office. So they do have, like you said, they have those positions still available, but they're like you said, it's going to be more or less like the senior people or maybe a startup or something like that might be open to it. But for the most part, that's going to start getting allocated to the senior levels that can prove that they trustworthy enough to do it. And they ain't going to just let everybody continue to do that, because you got to think all these companies from when the pandemic hit had these buildings. They got all this overhead that they got to come up with a reason to have, these big buildings and stuff like that. They want to have people in these chairs in these buildings, man. So they're gonna put that back in the office.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I did a video on that. And it's called a doom loop. like you said, most big companies have the legacy of real estate, so they got to pay for that real estate. And two is, I'm in Indiana. When Salesforce came, we gave them $300 million of tax abatements because we want you to hire Indiana employees and we want them to have them buildings downtown. So if you don't do that, you got to give us our money back, right? So a lot of people getting those tax abatements. So that's what those tax abatements were for. And like you said, that real estate, and especially we talked about the FANG, the big guys, they paying you 200, 250, 300, they want to touch you, man.
Right.
Right. So, but if you're a startup and I think, you're trying to do something different, I think in the future, it's like most, I know, not most, I've done some angel work and work with some startups. They won't let you have a data center. They're going to tell you go on the cloud because they don't want to have that legacy overhead. And I think for real estate, you can get some of the top guys on the planet. And if, with teams and all
Right.
those productivity software, especially for my man full stack developers. They're checking in and checking out, running a test automation. You can do a lot of that remotely, right? So then you don't
Yeah,
have to
teams.
carry $100 million worth of real estate to
Right.
do that.
Yeah, your teams, Slack, and all that good
Oh
stuff. But it's
yeah,
just like, because I'm right down the street from over. I'm in Kentucky, and like all those places, like all the Amazons that are popping up everywhere, they build them suckers. And every time I look up, I'm seeing more and more land just get demolished, and then look up in 2 months, and all of a sudden you see a big blue building. Like, sure, there go another Amazon spot.
that's
They are
that's how
everywhere. I'm like, bro, this is
that's
crazy.
how
They
we are.
better
We
better
got
UPS,
Yeah, we
huh?
like I think we got 6 warehouses in Indiana, man. So it's crazy. We got 6 big warehouses in Indiana. So
Yeah.
anything I order, I get the same day. So
That's what I'm saying. They get as bad as UPS out here. I mean, every time you look up, that's usually what it is. You get UPS, Amazon, UPS, Amazon.
yeah,
Like they everywhere.
yeah, like you said, Amazon and people don't realize is they really make a lot of their money on those data centers. That's where they make most of their profits was on those. I think 75% came from AWS. Them people renting out them VMs, spinning up those VMs. I think that made I think it was 75% of their profits actually came from AWS not selling stuff. So, well, I guess they're
I
selling.
believe it.
So,
But I believe it. I mean, it's
yeah,
just like the servers, like you said. Like I mean, I was a big sneakerhead for a while too. But I know like a lot of guys that was doing bots, and that's what they being able to get on them servers and having all those places close to Nike and charging arm and leg for them bots. But that's what they were doing. They was getting on the cloud using those services, building them bots on the cloud and getting that fast speed. And people were just snatching stuff left and right.
facts on Amazon Turk. That's true. But no, you're right. A buddy of mine, they made a bot and they buy tickets around the world. So when certain events come on, their bots hit and they buy tickets. I think he said he bought $4 million worth of tickets. So I mean, he have everything. I'm like, how do you know what the bot's buying? They go, they got these algorithms, and the bot figures out what's the best concerts to buy. Because we were arguing. Because he called me one day. He's like, I got Jay-Z tickets. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, they don't people don't buy Jay-Z tickets. He said, country music, man, them dude be paying $3,000-$4,000 for backstage tickets, man. I was like, really? So the stuff so he buys like $2-3 million worth of concert tickets. But like you said, they had those bots rigged up. Um, yeah, I think they're gonna get close to all bots in the warehouse, bots on the phone, bots. Yeah, because Joe, that's a money saver. And two is like they get them consumer ready, then they're gonna sell those bots they're gonna sell their bots to their competitors. So that's how they make money. But yeah, I think there will be all dark Amazon warehouse services, meaning robots gonna run in the dark. You ain't gonna need no lights on. They're gonna stack them, um, get them ready for them. You're gonna call them. They're gonna put them in the truck. I think trucks gonna be autonomous driving in the next 15 years. So I think it's gonna be all robots, bots, electronic trucks. Joe, that's my prediction in the future. And if you look at Amazon, they're working on all of that. So yeah, I think it will be all bots in the future. Now I don't think it's gonna be 10 years. I think that's 50 years away. But here in Indiana, my buddy worked at one of the Amazon. It's one he said it's 25% all bots. So they're just getting it ready and scaling it up. What's up, Ken E? Glad you can join me. So yeah, I think it's gonna be all bots. What's your
Didn't
thoughts
you
on that,
do?
man?
Sorry, didn't you do a video about that a while back, or did I see that somewhere else where they was talking about that? Where like it was a prototype where Amazon had like the truck,
Yep.
like the bot was driving the truck, and then it came out of the truck and then delivered the package, and
Ah,
then
that
got
wasn't
back in the
me.
truck.
No, I didn't show that
Okay,
one. I've seen it before. I need to do one.
okay.
I
I
did. I
thought
did
you.
one. I did one where I was talking about the new robots they got in there,
Okay,
and they got the
okay.
one that's kind of like almost human, like it was picking the
Hmm.
bins up and putting them back in. Then they got the one that looks like Rumba, and it brings the shelves to the guy. So I did a couple of them.
Okay, yeah.
But now, yeah, I think that's gonna be the future, most definitely.
Well, I ain't gonna hold you up, big brother. Let somebody else come up. I just want to basically I just
No,
want to
that's
come up and
cool.
give you your flowers, man. I
Mm,
just want to say I appreciate you, man, coming here and always, what I'm saying, giving the game and teaching, bro. I know
I
you
appreciate.
got a lot of stuff on your plate, man. You're a busy man, but I just want to tell you personally
No, I
that I
appreciate it.
appreciate you, man, and what I'm saying, respect you more than you know, bro. So thank you for
Appreciate
always coming up, showing out, and giving us information and giving us game, bro. So I just want to salute to you, big bro. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I got a high trust coming out for you, man. I ain't forgot you. I got some HIPAA stuff coming out, especially for you. I'm working on, so we definitely gonna
Okay, it
chop it
works.
out. We're gonna make that happen.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna stay a little longer, see if anybody got any more questions. But yeah, I think bots are gonna take over, man. I think, like I said, I don't think it's a 10-year thing. I think it's more 20 and 30. Because you got to remember, we from a cybersecurity perspective, we're a million jobs short, right? So the bots and the AI and the machine learning, it's taking up that million people we're short. So I don't think it's going to be this adverse where it's just going to take so many people out right away, right? There's other people predicting that. I think it's just going to be a gradual thing, like technology, right? I'm old enough. I remember there used to be typing pools of secretaries, right? It used to be like two. I worked at a Fortune 500 pharmaceuticals company. They probably had 1,000 secretaries, administrative assistant. Now, when you go, it's probably 100, right? For the executives, because they got worldwide, they got Brazil and Morocco parts of the pharmaceutical. So you probably for the C-suite in each one of those global divisions. But man, once again, I was younger. When you be the typing pool with secretaries, administrative assistant. Now everybody types their own papers, right? But gradually, that took probably 20 years before I noticed it disappeared, right? So I work for large companies. So there's a few AAs that work for the C-suite and the president. Everybody else, they're typing their own papers, sending their own emails, right? There's no whiteout anymore. So I think you'll have that same type progression. I think with technology, even with Chat GPT and a lot of the AI, generative AI, I think that's going to build up. And two is I think it's making people a lot more efficient. So even though we short people in cybersecurity, you as a cybersecurity people, now you can do the work of two people, three people, right? But once again, we're eating into that million short we got. So I don't think there's going to be this um, catastrophic layoff of talent, especially in the United States. Once again, I think it's going to get into that. A lot of people, once again, self checkout. A lot of people are pushing back on the self checkout. If you ever look at Amazon Go Score, there's not self checkout. As you put something in the bag, it automatically charges your credit card as you put stuff in your backpack. So you're not going to even need to scan your palm print. It's going to get it off your facial recognition of who you are and what your credit card is, right? So once again, just technology getting better and better, and got to keep up, right? Because that's going to be the haves and the have-nots. Who's technically savvy and who's not, right? Because everything, but it's weird. I was watching my grandson. He's 6'7". Give him a phone. He just started. You give a baby a phone now, they're skipping commercials and everything on YouTube, right? Because their kids are just so technically savvy now. So obviously that's the future. So once again, I want everybody to have a great hump day tomorrow. Like I said, I'm still shaking off Thanksgiving. I got to keep it together. Once again, take care of yourself. Something's going around. I'm in the Midwest, and I know a lot of people sick. So one of the benefits of not going into the office is I don't have to be around 6 people, and I can take care of myself. Once again, check it out on the replay. If you need anything, ProfessorBlackOps@gmail.com. Reach out to me. People will let you know. We can jump on my software here, set it on a private conversation, and we can chop it up about something. I try at least give everybody 15, 20 minutes so they can, if they got an idea, bounce something off or some quick questions. But once again, I'm out. Everybody have a nice day. Let's get ready for the hump day.